All right, we're in the preseason, and we've got DeMaurice Smith, the head guy with the NFL Players Association.
I'm not sure I'm the head guy.
Yeah.
I just head to work every day. As long as I head to work and come home, that's all that matters.
I know you have some great people working with you. I know one guy is a Bowie State graduate,
Yes.
a local guy.
Yes.
Talk about him. He's doing some great things for you.
Well, look, let me talk about all of our employees. I mean, one, we've got about 165 employees. Two things I love about our employees. They're great. They're diverse. Anytime we can get candidates from HBCUs, like my dad went to, is another great day. But, look, and I mean this. I have the best job in the world only because I have the best staff in the world, and I represent the best athletes in the world.
All right, and let's talk about some of that work that you all are doing. There are a lot of big issues in the NFL. First, we can talk about the National Anthem.
Sure.
What's your take on that?
Well, right now, obviously, we sued the National Football League over the anthem, but we also reached an agreement at our request that we're at a standstill. So the league agreed to the offer that they suspend the imposition of their policy. We decided that we would suspend our litigation, and actually two sides would come together and talk about how we work through these issues, and those talks are productive. They've really been positive. I think that the league has done a great job listening to the players. I think the players have done a great job listening to the league, and we've kept these talks confidential. And what I think is, look, I know that both sides can do a lot better work when we decide that we're going to work together. And so that work continues. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but I think that, as Americans, that's what we strive to be, right? A more perfect union. And that can only happen if people actually listen to each other.
And let's talk about the helmet situation, the new rule. Where do you stand on that as a Players Association?
Well, during the competition committee last year, we told the league when they proposed this rule that there were going to be problems with enforcement and problems with the natural way players come into contact with each other. I think you see a lot of frustration from coaches. You see a lot of frustration from players. Look, nobody has done more to make the game safer than the Players Association. But at the same time, you have to make sure that every rule that you put into place is actually one that is practicable, right? And from where I sit, I can see a lot of frustration from almost every stakeholder. So what we're doing is we're pulling film, we're taking a look at it. And again, my hope is that both sides can sit down and talk. We all want to achieve a safer game, but I think if you end up with a rule where everyone is trying to figure it out, that tells me that that's not a perfect rule.
Another big challenge, I guess, is bringing in all these new rookies every year.
Every year.
And what do you guys do to help get them adjusted?
Well, the first thing is to introduce them that we know that they can play the game, but you are part of a big business. And truly, the only family you are going to have is the union. And so, I'm lucky to have a guy like Don Davis, who heads up all of our player advocacy. The goal is to make sure that these young men understand the business of football, that you're going to play for approximately 3 years, that it's not a question that you're going to be hurt in this game. So look at it as a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful time to play a great game, but don't forget for a nanosecond that you are in a pretty tough business. And what I want for every person who plays this game is what you and I would want for our sons. I want them to get more out of football than football gets out of them.
All right, that sounds great.
Awesome.
Are there any other challenges you're facing this year? I mean,
I don't know how long your show is, but we could be here all day.
There's a lot of them, right? But anything in particular that you'd like to voice out to the viewers?
I think that, anytime that the viewers understand that you get to watch a great game, and it's wonderful to turn it on and watch these guys do things that, you and I wish we could do, or maybe not. But at the end of the day, all of these guys are someone's son, someone's husband, someone's brother. you know, it's easy sometimes to sort of treat them like they don't really exist like humans. But the reality is, and you stand here on the sideline every game, you understand that this game is played by young men. And for a dad, you know, who has a young son, sometimes they're going to do things that you scratch your head and kind of wish they didn't do. But, you know, as a man who looks into the mirror every day, I mean, I can tell you there's mistakes that I've made. And so, you know, let's think every now and then that we're embracing a great game, but we're embracing a great game that's played by an incredibly, you know, talented group of young men. And when you turn the TV off, there's still somebody's son, there's still somebody's father, there's still somebody's brother. That's the way that I love to think of it.
All right, great season ahead, right?
Always a great season ahead. Thank you very much, man.
DeMaurice Smith,
Always
thanks
appreciate
for joining
it.
us.
Always.
Some really good points that he made there.
He did say a lot of great things, and I think one that I picked up is about the anthem. When two sides can come together instead of being one-sided in understanding what the protest was all about. I think sometimes the NFL as a whole miss what that's all about. And then I like what he said at the end with the younger guys is them getting more out of football than football gets out of them. That is so key right there.
You know, there were, by the way, 4 Redskin players that knelt during the anthem. Doxson, Jamison Crowder, one of the other receivers, 83, I can't think of his name, and then Jordan Reed.
Right.
He wasn't in uniform, but he knelt with them. Right. So there were 4 Redskins who did.
Right. Well, Donna picked up on something in the beginning and near the end, and in the middle, I picked up on when, you know, with the helmet issue. DeMaurice Smith and the union and the whole league has a very, very difficult problem because as much as they try to make it safe, this is a contact sport.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't tell race car drivers that they need to slow down. You don't tell hockey players that they need to stop slapping the puck or whatever like that. This is a collision sport, right? And it always has
been. What
been.
you sign up for.
Right. You know, they need to have a disclaimer that this is what you're signing up for. I love when he said that, you know, the 3 years is the life expectancy of a football player.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
So if you're pushing in that direction, that's why, you know, the helmets and the hits and everything like that, it's so hard because you have these kids, as they're saying, moving at tremendous speeds, and they are colliding.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to Charles Mann and people like that. It's like every play is like a car wreck, and that was back then. You know,
And it's even worse now.
It's even worse now. So it's just a hard thing for DeMaurice and everybody else to manage because at the end of the day, it's tackle football, and no one's
Not flag football.
No one's
right?
going to come to the game to see flag football. They want to see people tackle.